Hello and welcome everyone to Blood on the Bayou Circuit number 3 presented by The Adventure Begins. We are now in our top 8 and we are going to be bringing you the quarterfinals here. Kano versus Florian. Charles, I'm joined today by Charles. How are you doing, Charles?
I'm doing fantastic, and this is going to be probably one of the spiciest stream games of today. Of course, Kano just on a tear going through this top 8, or this Swiss round rather, into the top 8, and Florian just kind of did a very meta pick. So it'll be very interesting to see what's going to happen in this game.
Very good. Yeah, so I am interested here to see what the Florian loadout is going to look like. We already have Evan flipping up his loadout. Looks like he's going to be in for expecting a little bit of a grindier matchup with the Tunic out. And Zetta presenting AB3 as expected, but on a little bit of interesting pieces here, Charles. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that Zetta is opting for the Null Rune boots instead of something like the Vexing Quill Hand and then having access to the Well Grounded. The Face Purgatory is also very interesting. I wonder if this is the Zetta's only headpiece, considering that is the headpiece that was brought in rather than like a Plume of Evergrowth or something like that.
So it looks like we may be in the lower part of the Kano respect cycle, where we are on the lower side of respecting Kano. But Evan here going to put out Potion of Deja Vu and pitch to the Crucible, and just past turn able to develop his board just a little bit. Passing over to Zetta.
Yeah, and Evan's deck for this time around has been very interesting. We see in the hand that he has that beautiful Sigil of Cycles, kind of alluding to maybe some of the changes that he has made over time as we are seeing Zetta activate the Grasp. It's going to be interesting to see how Evan has changed the deck other than maybe just the Sigil of Cycles. I do know that he was running some snapbacks and some other spicy tech, but at the moment he is facing down the damage from Zetta.
Zetta here going to be coming in with AB1, and is this the overpower attack?
It is a vantage point.
Yeah, I honestly don't. I think I've only seen this played in limited, but yeah, I mean it is a 7 overpower attack with the AB coming in, and it looks like Evan gonna activate Kano here. Pitching the Sigil of Cycles and see what he wants to do with this.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of an interesting way of going about it. Of course, Kano is either wanting to block with most of their hand and set up the combo or go for the combo itself. Vantage Point having overpower is going to make that a lot harder for Evan to do, kind of leak damage. And of course, having 30 life instead of 40 at the start of the game makes taking any amount of damage a little more precarious going towards these next couple turns.
So presenting the Overflow the Aether Well with 4/4, looking like Zetta going to had some floating, so going to AB2 on top of that and take 2, so turning off the surge effect from the Overflow the Aether Well. And
yeah,
and now going
Evan
to move to blocks. On block 3 and take the 4.
I believe this was the blue, so taking 2 here.
Oh, it was just the blue. Yeah, I was looking at the red, which is 7 overpower. Definitely not that at blue. I'm gonna pass back over to Evan with 1 card in hand and 1 in arsenal. Just going to develop another potion here. I'm not sure what this potion is.
It will be able to let him opt to at instant speed.
Oh, this is the Clarity Potion. Very good. Yeah. So going to be able to dig a little deeper. Is Evan just Looks like he's just setting up a big stack.
Yeah, so into these slower matchups, the Kanos are going to want to go for 2 to 3 E-Pots, maybe 2 Potion of Deja Vus, maybe 2 Clarity Potions. They just want to set up that board, because when they want to combo, they want all the resources to go as wide as possible on their opponent's turn and really burn through their life total. So we're going to see Evan definitely trying to block as much as he can, and every time he sees a potion, he will try to do his best to play it out as the game progresses.
Zetta here with a Autumn's Touch here in pitch. No Earth cards have made it to the bin yet, but going to try and present CNC with a little bit of disruption, try and make the blocking a little more difficult, and pressure the arsenal of Evan here.
Yeah, and I think Evan just flashed an Aether Spindle in his arsenal, so maybe trying to get some information for the next turn. If he chooses to play that, it looks like we will see the cover-up.
Just going to cover up the 6 here, putting another card down in pitch. Oh man, this is putting another Aether Flare. I think that's the second Aether Flare we've seen at the bottom of the pitch stack now. And now looking at, like you called it, the Aether Spindle.
So yeah, for the amount of arcane damage that is dealt, Evan will get to opt for that much. Of course, the Crucible giving this +1. Zetta with only AB3 will still give Evan 2 opt unless he has the Seeds of Tomorrow.
And giving, so it looks like Zetta is going to reach for some sort of pitch here. I don't think you can give opt 5, especially seeing how Evan is trying to stack here. So going to take 2, allow the opt 2 to happen.
Yeah, and we see that Aether Wildfire as one of the options here. Evan deciding to keep that up top, of course.
Probably
and that card.
Try and park that bad boy in Arsenal. Now, notably Plow Under from these Earth decks can just kind of put a wrench in a lot of the stacking that the Kanos are trying to do. But I think with the Potion of Clarity, he should be able to navigate through that. I'm not a Kano player. I'm just guessing, to be honest with you.
And Evan actually picked up a really interesting hand. He has an Eye of Ophidia. And typically, when you draw that card, you're wanting to do some shenanigans with the extra opting that you get to see. We'll be interested if Evan wants to go for a somewhat mini combo now that he has the Eye of Ophidia plus a Wildfire in hand.
And also another potion in hand. So this hand not blocking very well at all. Is that a Lessons in Lava as well? So going to be... Is that looking to go a little bit wider on this turn, starting out with a Swarming Gloom Veil?
Yeah, we might see a Kano activation with the Eye just to get some more information. We're just pitching to the Arcane. That makes a lot more sense. Gonna be 2 blues on the top. Not really doing much for him. He could choose to just send them to the bottom.
This little thing here, leave them on top. I think that's signaling to me he's not wanting to mess up his stack that he has going down there. That's what I'm thinking the line of thought is here.
It could also be that he wants to keep as many blues on top of the deck so that when he does go to combo, he has the resources to kill. So seeing 2 blues on top of the deck just says, okay, I want to keep this. Evan also has the ability to Potion of Deja Vu the Eye back on top if he wanted to.
Just going to send the sword and snap block with the Lessons of Lava, developed the energy potion, and pass. And now back on over to Zetta to see what they want to do with their 5-card hand. It looks like the Florian here has been a little bit taxed with action points and not able to clear their hand out quite as well as maybe they could hope. This is going to be is that Fruits of the Forest getting pitched to the grass? The graveyard looking a little light on earth cards.
I think this goes to show one of the major weaknesses of Florian overall is that a lot of the decomposing that Florian does is with the Rootbound Carapace on defense, although defense reactions don't do anything against Kano as he is not really swinging any attacks. And so it's going to just take Zetta more time to build up to the Florian's hero ability, which means that at the moment they're not going to be able to do as much as they want to. Of course, at this point in time, and nothing in Banish, your Fellings and Plows don't have the extra buffer of damage, so it's going to be interesting as the Condemned to Slaughter comes out, choosing to not destroy a Rune Chant or an Aura, as there's no Aura on Evan's side.
Just sending it in to get it out and give the pump to the sword. So coming in for a 1 and 4. So still keeping the card back, able to have the pitch in case something does happen. Very conservative lines here from Zetta, just going to slow this game down and just try and chip down the Kano and see if they can catch the Kano on a more potions or gems, things like that. Just get some cheeky damage in there. I'm gonna have a little bit of a think here. With Blessings in Lava in hand, I'm gonna take the 1 from the arcane damage and just take the 4, send the bill. So 5 total? 5 total.
So it looks like Evan just deciding to take some of the damage here. He has a pretty good hand, and Zetta's committed multiple cards on the turn. Maybe deciding if he wants to go for a small combo here just to chunk Zetta's life total, or if he just wants to find some cards to play with to help poke around.
Stormstriders hits the combat chain. Gaze of the Ages in pitch with a Crucible coming out. I am intrigued. Aether Wildfire. Thinking on the no trigger here.
So Evan just trying to see how many resources he can do or commit to buff this up.
Evan just going to explain here how Aether Wildfire works. Evan with 2 cards in hand, Aether Wildfire coming in for 6 right now.
So Evan just explaining to Zetta how much damage it is, and we see it.
There
the
is
Seeds
the seed.
of Tomorrow.
Preventing 5. So I think with the way the play patterns that Zetta's been showing, kind of holding back the arsenal, holding 1, Evan kind of sniffed that out, that there was, possibly, that there was a Seeds of Tomorrow sitting in there.
So one thing to note is now Zetta has nothing left. No cards in hand, no floating, no arsenal, and that Wildfire still came in for 1 point of damage, which means that if Evan is able to find anything off the top, such as open the floodgates, or anything that can extend the turn, that Zetta has nothing he can do about it.
So it looks like In hand, we're looking at a Lessons in Lava, and I'm not sure what the other card is.
It's a blue Prognosticate. So a yellow and a blue here, one floating. Evan probably deciding on whether he wants to Ragamuffin that lesson to the top and activate Kano.
Give it a think here. I'm honestly, I am definitely not a Kano player, so I'm not sure what the line really looks like here. I can see a world where you Ragamuffins the lessons to the top, and then you get to grab something else. Activating Kano here. And then here comes the Deja Vu.
So this actually allows him to put the lesson on top of the deck without committing the Ragamuffins, which is a little bit nicer. Since Evan is probably not killing Zetta on this turn, and having access to the Ragamuffins on the next Wildfire is going to make it easier for Evan to try to chunk down Zetta's life total more.
So going to play Lessons here. Showing the one that Aether Wildfire has done. So Lessons coming in for 5. So 5 damage. Evan gonna go search now for something with basically anything in his deck, really.
This is interesting. He can go for an arcane spell. He could also go for Gaze the Ages. It looks like Blazing will be the play. 6 damage dealt so far.
So pulling out a Blazing Aether, and Blazing Aether going to deal X arcane damage to the target, where X is the amount of arcane damage you have dealt to a hero this turn. So another 6. And going to pump with the Metacarpus nodes. So 8 going to be the ask here.
8 damage coming through. Of course, Zetta's Seeds of Tomorrow really hampered the turn that Evan was trying to accomplish. Zetta still falling to 22, a life total that is getting ever lower against Kano.
So the Seeds of Tomorrow, I think that Zetta is definitely in the teens, low teens.
Without the seeds, there's a potential that Zetta could have been dead. So
yeah, definitely. So seeds are definitely coming in clutch. Zetta playing slow roll, well, maybe slow roll, at least keeping the arsenal and the seeds in hand for a while there to make sure that they don't die to a combo. And Evan here commenting on the seeds and how came in very clutch there. And Zetta now looking for the next with 4 cards in hand, and we will see what they can do. I think notably there is... Go ahead.
Evan in the hand, he has a Scour, which is interesting. Of course, it'll get rid of all the rune chance if Zetta had decided to try to tank him. There is also a Will of Arcana in the hand for Evan as well. So the Will of Arcana going to be amping 1 should it be pitched.
So a few, definitely seeing some of the misses that can show up in this Kano deck off the top. Looks like we will be seeing 5 go again on the Enlightened Strike is the ask. Going to block 3, going down to 18. 22 playing 18 here with another action point, and going to send just an Autumn's Touch.
Yeah, just trying to push as much damage through the turns as Zetta can. Evan, keeping that spindle in hand, is most likely just going to activate the Crucible and swing that spindle, try to do a big chunk of arcane damage, get some more information, try to set up another kill turn. The Wheel of Arcana makes this a little bit easier, or gives him +1 damage at least.
And notably now, Zetta does have at least a couple of Earth cards in graveyard, so able to do a Decompose. And this Aether Spindle will be going to be coming in for 6. So at least going to opt 3 based on what is available at this, based on the AB that's available.
Yeah, and I don't believe I saw a Felling of the Crown in Zetta's hand. I think I saw a CNC and an Arcane Seed's Life. So not exactly the disruption that Zetta wants to see at this point in game.
Evan able to basically select almost half of his hand that he's going to pick up next turn. Coming in, now we will move over to Evan's turn, see what he can do. 14 playing 19 here at Blood on the Bayou circuit number 3 in our first top 8 match here. Kano staring down Florian to see what the wizard can do here into the Earth Hero. Can the wizard set the Earth on fire?
Yeah, and Zetta still playing it a little bit slow. We're just going to activate the Grasp. Looks like they're thumbing that Arcane Seed's Life. Maybe deciding whether or not they want to commit it. Every card they play out of the hand is one less card Evan has to think about in terms of his numbers. But it is just going to be the 3 arcane and the 3 physical.
Keeping the 1 card in hand to always have the AB3 pitch, or at least represent it. Very good discipline here from Zetta. Making sure to make the Kano respect at least AB3. Kano going to activate here.
Looks like an Open the Floodgates was the banish.
Yeah, going to show the Open the Floodgates off the top here. Blocking 3. And just looks like Evan's just going to let that one sit in banish. And this is, I'm not sure what this is.
This is a Voltic Bolt.
A Voltic Bolt.
Just the 2 for 5 arcane, getting +1 from the Crucible. 6 damage.
Coming in for 6. So always kind of leaking stuff over, just little by little chipping down is Evan here. Zetta gonna move over here. Got a little bit of a grinder going on. See who can leak through enough damage to force the other hand consistently. Zetta now sitting on an arsenal, maybe representing another Seeds.
When we're seeing the first Decompose that Zetta is able to pull off, the Cadaverous Tilling coming through, going to be threatening the 8 points of damage here.
So a big chunk of damage gonna be coming through. Evan reaching for the potion. Gonna opt 2 on the Clarity, see if he can figure out something good to hear. Picks up another Aether Wildfire. Is that, wait.
It is a Wildfire and Gaze the Ages. Both cards that Evan would like to keep on top. Evan now has to decide if he wants to go now or if he wants to try to draw into the next hand. No Storm Striders makes any play in the future more difficult, so Evan might be prized into just trying to pop off right now.
Going to show the Aether Wildfire on the Kano activation. Pitching the blue Aether Flare. And another 5 going to be presented here.
Zetta this time does not have the Seeds of Tomorrow, as Evan has full access to the rest of this turn, no cards left in hand and none floating.
This is kind of the green light here. Zetta without any cards in hand. Activate another Kano, and then the Ragamuffins comes out.
So Evan knows that there is a Gaze of the Ages on the top of the deck, and that Open the Floodgates looks very juicy as of this moment.
So Open the Floodgates going to come out, and the Surge is going to be online.
Yeah, threatening to draw 2 more cards.
Oh, this is the blue. So 1 + 4, 5 coming in. Then draws 2 more. And there
looks
is
like
an Aether Flare.
We picked up 2 more blues to extend this turn on. Kano activation. The Arcane Twinning coming through. And Evan probably has to be pretty comfortable. Both of his gems have been pitched already at this point in the game, so anything that gets revealed off the top or flipped off the top is most likely something that he can play.
Another 5. And then there's Lethal on the stack. And that's going to be it. Kano getting there against Florian. Gonna move on to the next round of the top 8. So just kind of grinding it out there, a little bit of chip damage here and there, and able to have a big turn with an Open the Floodgates. Evan gonna move on. Charles, any thoughts?
I think this game played out almost exactly like it would be expected to. Zetta having the first Seeds of Tomorrow to really stump the Stormstrider's turn is definitely what they were looking for. Unfortunately, Evan, seeing that other wildfire off the top, just made it happen.
All right, and that will do it all for us here today, and we'll see you in the next round. Catch you then.